We are not your grandmothers and grandfathers in NAACP. And I know some chapters that's what I think of. We wanted to make this organization that already existed, that had a name, to see if we could make it work more effectively for justice in our community. Well, you can't let the perfect get in the way of the possible. No system is perfect. No one has ever built a system that is perfect, and no one ever will, because as human beings, we're flawed. I always say to black people particularly this, well, I say to all people, that if you don't like a thing, do something about it. And if you're not willing to do something about it, that means become politically involved. Again, but I don't limit the notion of political involvement may or may not have anything to do with voting, but it has to do with rendering the appropriate power to bring about the results that you're looking for. That requires you put time, energy, involvement into it. Now, in terms of the so-called political system, two-party system, of course it's an inappropriate system. It cannot work, but this is the system we got. And to this point, this is a system that the people in America have chosen. When you decide you want a different system, then you'll have to make your interest known. If you don't like a thing, change it. If you're not willing to change it, then tolerate it and become a slave to it. Those are the only two choices we ever have in life. You may die, you may get killed, you may lose your house, of course. Everybody that engages in a system, those are the risks. The status quo, I can guarantee if you continue to do the same thing, you get the same result. You mentioned earlier about some people don't like the word revolution or bothered by the well, the weak and the corrupt are the ones that are bothered by that. The weak, the corrupt, those that are afraid. You know, the people who are afraid of revolution, those who are afraid of fighting, those who are afraid of fighting, they automatically slaves. Of course, the corrupt's always going to find a reason to demean and devalue the work of people who are genuinely involved in trying to bring about a change. If you were involved in trying to clean up our air so it's more breathable, so we can bequeath a better air system to our future generations, there are people who pollute the air and they make money from it. They save money by polluting the air rather than go through reasonable and logical ways of handling pollution. They're going to work against you. They may even kill you. They will pass laws. Yeah, of course they'll do that. Now, you will either fight them and defeat them, or you will tolerate it. But if you don't fight them, they won't stop. Evil will never stop until you fight it and destroy it. And always when dealing with evil, always understand it has to be destroyed. You cannot compromise with it. It must be destroyed. You can't make evil be better. I think Donald Trump has come along at a great time. I think Donald Trump on some levels, he forces an aggressive conversation about race. You know, Donald Trump is, and I'm always, it's funny to me how people are angry with Trump. I mean, since we first discovered Donald Trump, probably late 70s, early 80s, he's always been a narcissist, a megalomaniac, a racist, a sexist, and any number of other adjectives I could come up with. That's what he's always been. People like him. That's why he captivated the attention of the American TV watcher. They love Donald Trump because he's the monster that they like. They like wrestling. He's like a political wrestler. He says whatever he wants to say. He does all these bombastic things. And when Barack Obama became president in 2000 and was elected in 2008 and took office in early 2009, there were a significant amount of white people in America that were floored because that schism of reality in which white was superior was undermined. The genie's out the bottle. You can't argue that white is superior anymore because white supremacy, white dominance, the psychology of it is on that very thin notion, very sort of foolish notion that white people are somehow or another superior and therefore have the right to dominate the rest of the people and control their resources and their thinking. When Barack Obama came in, there was nothing significantly different about Barack Obama as president because he went through the same systems, he used the same kind of rhetoric, It's just that he had black blood in him. And there was a immediate white lash. The Tea Party was born. And they say, oh, you're not racist. Of course you are. I'm not mad at you. The Tea Party is 99.9% white, and you don't think it's racist? We never had a black president? I'm not angry. These people were reacting to having a reality shift that was stressful for them. Donald Trump is a reaction to Barack Obama. The word went out. What good is it to be white if a nigger can be president? I understand. Now, I understand the feeling. I will not tolerate it under no circumstance will I allow myself to be victimized or brutalized by that, because that's an act of war. When you attempt to enslave or marginalize another people's humanity, it is an act of war. And the group that's being marginalized need to react to it that way, and to members of the group who is doing the marginalizing, if they are not with that, then they need to make themselves known by their actions. Barack Obama was born in Kenya, according to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a racist. His father was a racist. America's a racist nation. He knew the right buttons to push. He forces black people to wake up. Donald Trump is not black people's problem. Black people and our failure to build a proper political definition of blackness, to organize for self-defense and self-reliance, is the problem. So when you look at Donald Trump, whatever it is that he did that hurt you, understand it's simply a reflection of your weakness and your failures as a people. Now, we can talk about coming from West African traditions and tribal traditions, and we've never developed those things, but the bottom line is it's still our responsibility. Black folk have to fix this for themselves. And so when you say Black Lives Matter, you've got to be able to demonstrate to yourself that that's really true. And it doesn't matter that somebody else doesn't agree with you. I don't care. I don't care about whether or not you like Black Lives Matter. I had a white gentleman the other night said, I just don't like it when people play the race card. I think, really? I said, you mean the card that y'all created? And now you don't want me to call you out for it. I could care less about what he thinks. I really don't. And I don't hate him. And I don't hate Mr. Trump. I see he kicked Omarosa out the White House. I thought that was funny. She said something about she was there to be a liaison between the presidency and the black community. And I went, you black? And that's the point that I'm making. People like her, Ben Carson, and those type of guys, these are not black folk. They have skin that's maybe dark, but they're not black because they're not tethered to any reasonable political ideology that would benefit African people. So those are coons. And that goes back to that definition of coon.